What is the reason we are here? Your mission is to use your unique soul to illuminate, warm, and improve the world that you were given. To create a home for the divine. When you think of life that way, then your home, your work, your leisure becomes pieces of this larger puzzle. You wake up in the morning, list everything you do, and just write an M or E. Is it a means or an end? The mission of our lives is to take our work and to take the means and turn them into something more beautiful. Do I live to work or do I work to live? We all know that the invisible world is far more real than the visible one. What we see with our eyes is the tip of the iceberg. We are not physical beings on a spiritual journey. We're spiritual beings on a physical journey. The outer world should reflect the inner world. That's when we are at our best. When it's not our fragmented lives that control who we are, but you feel there's something greater that you're part of. Where does the soul go to when we die? It's a very distorted question. The premise is false. Imagine a discussion between a refrigerator and electricity. Just, bear with me. The refrigerator is plugged in, okay, great. And it's cooling food. Now suddenly the plug is pulled, and the refrigerator says to electricity, where do you go to when the plug is pulled? And electricity answers to the refrigerator, what do you mean where I go to? Where did you come from? You're a little box that was just created in the last 19th century. I've been around from the beginning of time, and I'm everywhere. And then, once they created this box called you, you've contained me, you've confined me in your box, so you become a cooling agent that cools food inside of you. When we ask where does the soul go to, it's implying that here is where it's at, and where does the soul suddenly go? But maybe it's the other way around. The soul is where it's at, and this world is a newcomer. We're like the box. And the soul, which is a force of electricity, enters into this box for a period of time, and then it just goes back to its natural place. The fact that you're not familiar with that place is just no different than a refrigerator is not familiar with electricity. All it is a box. We have very narrow vision. We only see the here and now. We don't see the larger journey of life. It's all stages in a journey. It doesn't necessarily relieve the pain of loss of death, but it makes you understand that when the soul moves on, it didn't go anywhere. It may be right here, except it's not being contained in a container that we can see. Do you love to travel, to experience that rush of a surprising, unprecedented discovery? If you love to travel, please join me on the ultimate journey, the 60-day journey, a spiritual guide to the high holidays that can help you discover new resources. So please join me as we travel on these 60 days. Heaven represents the transcendent, that which is beyond us. Earth represents that which is us. A human being has to always have pulsating energy, the contraction and the expansion, the exhaling and the inhaling. A measure of angst, where you're always seeking something, restless. We're not living in a world that is airtight materialism. There is always a transcendent spiritual side to existence. It's a constant journey. Even the most negative leg of the journey is also a springboard for further growth. The journey continues. How are you going to navigate the rungs of the ladder? The soul is essentially a spiritual energy within you that defines who you truly are and what your mission in life is. To fully, really experience that calling and mission in life, you find your mate, and together you are able to create the divine image. So essentially the driving force of love then is transcendence. is to reach beyond yourself. It's to reach a higher state of unity. And the deepest unity comes through diversity. You want to be the best you can possibly be? You need to free yourself of the subjectivity that traps us. If I was not impacted by my society and by my parents and by my own prejudices, what would I be like? Ask yourself that question. Once you have that openness, that you're able to challenge your own subjective forces that are affecting you, the vistas will open up for you. A good place to begin is simply to ask yourself that. Close your eyes, your ears, your taste, touch, and smell. What do I feel within? You'll suddenly discover parts of yourself you may not even know you had. And you're guaranteed to find the real you. But we each have the ability to grow, and we each have the ability to also help others grow. Not through an assault, not through an attack or critique, but through example. When you behave in a way that allows diversity to feed the unity, and they work together, that harmony within diversity, that becomes an example that others see and look at and say, something to learn from. Our children watch and see these things in our own homes. So people are always watching other people. Unfortunately, the blind leading the blind, and you see often people who live very, we'll call it chaotic lives or conflicting lives. So others feed off of that as well. When you see others fighting for their turf, survival of the fittest, you also become a shark who's looking to survive, and it may be at the expense of others. But we are trying to raise the bar, to live up to a higher standard, to be able to look at ourselves and say, one second, yes, materialism divides, but spirituality unites. Our material interests, the food I eat, is mine. If I give you some of my food, I have less. If I give you some of my money, I have less. If I stand up from my seat, you can sit there, but I can't sit there. So physical time and space is divisive, essentially. I'll call it diverse, but the potential for divisive, better way of saying it. But then we have a soul. And the soul sees a bigger picture, the bird's eye view. It doesn't look at things quite in the same spatial and time-oriented way, this and not that. Two people who love each other may sit in two different chairs, but they're united as one because their spirit is connected. Two people who don't love each other can sit right near each other and have nothing close in common among them. Two people who love each other can be millions of miles apart, and their love connects. So soulfulness, spirit, introduces a dimension of harmony. We're all sent to this world on a mission. Don't ever forget that. Whether we ignore it, whether we embrace it, whether we're distracted, we have a mission. And it will happen not only once in our life, but at least once in our lifetime, when you will be called upon to serve. You'll be called upon to do something, and something you're uncomfortable with doing. And what do we do when we're uncomfortable? We try to avoid it. Some of us procrastinate, some of us delay. We all have our ways of escaping our calling. But remember, it's your destiny, and it's your gift. It's not just responsibility, it's a blessing. It's a statement saying you need to accomplish something with your life that no one else can accomplish but you. And the very world itself will make sure that you live up to your calling. So Jonah goes onto the boat. We all go out to our boats. I'm going on vacation. I'm going on a safari, on a siesta. I'm going to find a way to numb my existential pain in life. And we think we can escape our destiny. You can never escape your destiny. Whether you're at sea or land, physically or figuratively, it will come back to haunt you. You can run, but you can't hide. Bertrand Russell was once asked, how can you behave unethically when you're a professor of ethics? So he said, I also am a professor of mathematics, and I'm not a triangle. We can have brilliant minds, but emotionally we can be 2-year-olds. How do we create a holistic system that addresses the dissonance, the split between mind and heart? The way to the heart is through the mind. With your mind, you're ready to imagine things that you are not ready actually to do. When you start dreaming about ideas and possibilities that are beyond what you are capable of today, slowly the mind opens up the possibility that this may be possible. It helps you create a cognitive life raft. And that opens up the heart to begin to want to experience it as well. The fragile heart, the one that may be afraid, the one that may have experienced insecurities, begins to say, it may be possible.